in case. Here we go. Chapter 5. The temperature seemed to drop. Varjak shivered. I don't like this, whispered the elder poor. I don't like it one bit. The gentleman pointed at them across the garden. He crouched down to touch the collars on the black cats' necks and whispered, bushed out with fear as the cats came slowly, deliberately across the grass towards them. There was something so strange, so menacing about the way they moved. Who are you? Called the elder poor. They didn't answer. They just kept coming. Varjak and his grandfather backed away, but there wasn't far to go. In a few steps, they were up against the wall, as far from the house as they could get. Varjak's pulse was racing. He remembered how the gentleman's cats had pushed him aside so easily. It looked like nothing in the world could stop them now. He scratched at his collar. It felt tight around his neck. Varjak, said the elder poor urgently, but without a hint of worry in his voice. I think someone as brave as you could climb this wall and go outside, don't you? Varjak glanced up. The stone was concealed by see to that. I'll have time? Varjak's head swam. What was the elder poor saying? That he should go outside on his own? But can't we both? No, we can't. Only one of us can get out. I'll keep them empty. You must go outside and find a dog. You're not going to fight them, are you? They'll... The elder poor took a pace towards the black cats. In his eyes was a fire Varjak had never seen before. Go! Bring back this thing, even men are scared, and keep the way alive, Varjak poor. The cats had stopped. They were looking at the elder poor as if they were waiting for him. The elder poor growled at them. Varjak's head hurt. He was being torn apart by 1,000 different feelings. The elder poor strode forward to meet the gentleman's cat, tail held high, green eyes blazing. Go, Varjak, before it's too late. Don't look back. This is the only way. He looked fierce and magnificent. The tiled old cat of the council was gone. Now he was a son of Jalal, facing his enemy, proud and powerful, a Mesopotamian blue. Go! He yelled, and hurled himself at the black cats. They nodded as he came, as if it was all too easy. The elder poor ran straight at them, but then he seemed to shimmer for a moment and went through the gap between them, and came out the other side. The two black cats spun around. The elder poor was just out of their reach. They glanced at each other and went after him. Varjak's heart thumped in his throat. His grandfather was leading them away through the trees back towards the house. He was taking them further and further from Varjak, with quick wits and a cunning flash of silver blue. The black cats were faster. They moved together perfectly. Each one looked sleek and lethal. How could the elder poor fight two together? Already he was slowing down, still proud, old and short of breath, and the black cats were closing in, one on each side. They'd catch him soon. Even if they didn't, what could he do against a gentleman 10 times his size? What could any cat do, or even a whole family? The elder poor was right. The only chance was to find a dog. His grandfather was doing what he had to. Now it was all up to Varjak. His mind on fire, Varjak tore his eyes from the garden and turned to the wall. It separated the world he knew from the world outside. No poor had been over that wall since Jalal himself came from Mesopotamia, but it was the only way out. He took a deep breath, coiled his body tight. One last glance over his shoulder. No! The black cats had caught the elder poor. They had him backed against the house. They came at him from both sides. He slashed out, but together they swarmed on top of him and forced him to the ground. There was a terrible howl. The black cats came away, shaking their heads. And the elder poor looked limp, like a broken toy. There was a roaring in Varjak's ears. His stomach churned. Everything inside him screamed at him to stay, to fight, to help the only cat who had ever understood him. But the elder Paul's words echoed in his mind. Go before it's too late. He turned to the wall. 3, 2, 1. Varjak exploded into motion. Back legs uncoiled. Front paws reached out. Found grip. Found it. Back legs pushed, pumped, powered up, up, like the wind. Varjak flew up the face of the wall, up through the trees, higher than the curtains, higher than the house, up, beginning to tire, muscles aching, vision blurring. How much further? Up, grip after grip, paw after paw, slipping. Latched onto a ledge, heaved, and made it to the top of the wall. Outside. For the first time since Jalal, a paw stood on the edge of the world. I hope that was a better quality one than the first one. That's the end of chapter 5. Ah, so exciting. Join me after the weekend for chapter 6 on Monday for Varjak Paw by S.F. Said, illustrated by Dave McKean. Thank you very much, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye. Good night.